The Cold War. A new axis of evil is now forming right before our eyes. And by the way, a new world order, it is taking shape, and it is not one that you should be happy about. All of this is a direct result of Joe Biden's glaring weakness on the world stage. And under Biden's failed leadership, America has now abdicated its role as the world's leading superpower. And China, they are racing in to fill the void. And just this week, the Chinese army released a video on state television showing what an attack on Taiwan would look like. By the way, this seems pretty imminent to me. And today, China issued even more warnings to the U.S. It seems to be a warning a day, at least, not to interfere with their territorial ambition amid the joint Philippines and U.S. military drills. But don't expect Joe to hold any of them accountable. They sent a spy balloon all across the continental U.S. and Alaska, and it relayed sensitive intelligence in real time back to China. Joe did nothing. When they threatened, quote, serious consequences over a U.S. warship in the South China Sea, Joe did nothing again. They have unleashed COVID on the world. They construct blatantly unfair trade deals. They commit rampant intellectual property theft. But again, your President Joe does nothing. How many more threats is Biden going to take from China before he finally takes action? But it's not just China getting a free pass. Russia, they shoot down a drone out of the sky or they take one out. What did Joe do to respond? Nothing. What do both countries have in common? Millions and millions and millions of dollars in business dealings with the Biden family syndicate. Coincidence? I don't think so. With Biden giving, up our position as the dominant leader in the world, this new axis of evil now is plotting to take over. Last month, China brokered that deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran. Now we see that they're likely going to do the same thing with a Saudi Arabian deal with Syria this time. If that happens, that shows that Saudi Arabia has made a decision. Meanwhile, leaked U.S. intel is saying that Russian operatives are now claiming new ties with the UAE. In other words, the coalition that Donald Trump built, the U.S., Israel, the Saudis, the Emirates, Jordan, and Egypt is now falling apart and crumbling before our very eyes. Egypt is now giving weapons to Russia. We give them billions of dollars a year. It's time to stop giving them a penny. So make no mistake, these countries, they are making what is a calculated, deliberate decision to side with this new axis of evil. Let me explain in more detail. Egypt, Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, these countries that had bet on the U.S. when Donald Trump was in charge, allied with the U.S., they are now siding with China and Russia and Iran. They see America as weak, and they want to join the winning side. And they're betting that, in fact, Joe Biden and the United States will lose. In other words, they're betting against America, and they're betting on China. That is a real, clear, present danger to all of us in this country. And it is not just our enemies picking up Biden's weaknesses. Even our allies want nothing to do with him. Look at this recent visit to China with French President Macron, who's happy to throw Joe Biden right under the bus, saying, no, we won't get involved if you invade Taiwan. And by the way, before urging Europe to reduce their reliance on the U.S. dollar, China desperately wants that to be the world's currency. On top of that, we're dealing with multiple hostage crises all around the world. You have Secretary of State Wink and Tony Blinken recently confirming that there are still 175 Americans left behind in Afghanistan, and a number of them are hostages. And remember, Joe promised he wouldn't abandon Americans in Afghanistan. He did. And meanwhile, an American is being held in hostage in Mexico as we speak tonight. And a Wall Street Journal reporter is being detained in Russia, and he did nothing wrong. So how do we expect to lead the world if we can't even take care of our own? Our military is woke. Our economy is broke. We have absolutely zero leadership and courage. And the world has taken notice, and they've made a decision, China in particular, aligning with Russia and Iran, and now the Saudis, and now the Egyptians, and now the UAE, that they think this is their moment to act and become the world's #1 superpower. Well, Biden didn't get he got a nice tour of a castle in Ireland today. Hey, Sean.
And whatsoever you shall ask in my name, that will I do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If you shall ask anything in my name, I will do it. If you love me, keep my commandments.